All right, so we are going to get started on converting time. So my first example is I want to figure out how many minutes 210 seconds is equal to. Okay, so I need to figure out how many minutes. So I'm going to show you guys kind of a little equation structure. You may be able to figure this out very easily, and you could do it a different way, and that is totally okay. But I'm going to show you this because it can be helpful in the future when we start adding more things into our problems, okay? So I have 210 seconds, and I need to figure out how many minutes that equals. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to rewrite 210 down here, seconds, times. Now I'm going to make a little fraction bar or division bar, okay? So always what goes down on the bottom is going to be whatever unit I'm starting with. So I'm going to put down seconds here, and I want to get to minutes. So I'm going to put minutes on top. So I'm just going to put 1 minute up here, and I have to put how many seconds go into 1 minute. So I know that 60 seconds equal 1 minute. So I'm going to put 60 down here. So now my units can cross out, and I am left with minutes. And that's what I'm trying to figure out. So I'm simply going to multiply straight across. So I'm going to take 210 times 1, which gives me 210. And I'm going to do the same at the bottom, and I'm left with 60. So now I'm dividing 210 by 60. So let's do that up here. 210 divided by 60. All right, I know 60 cannot go into 2. I know 60 cannot go into 21. So now I'm just going to have to count by 60s, all right? So let's do that. So 60, I have 120, 180, and then let's see. That is as far as 60 can go in without going over 210. So I know that 60 can go into 210 3 times. That is going to give me 180. Going to subtract. And I'm left with 30. So what this means is on top, my minutes, my remainder will be seconds, okay? So 210 seconds is equal to 3 minutes and 30 seconds. Okay? Now, again, if you ever have any questions, feel free to email me and we can talk over stuff, all right? So let's do another example, okay? So I want to know if 5 minutes and 25 seconds is greater or less than 315 seconds. So I'm going to have to figure out which has the most time, okay? So I can set this up the same. I'm going to go 5 minutes. Now remember, I need minutes on the bottom. So minutes down here, and I'm going to go seconds up top because that's what I'm trying to figure out. So I'm going to do 1 minute, and then up here I have to do how many seconds is in 1 minute. So now I'm able to cross out those units, and now I'm going to multiply across. So 60 times 5, if you need to write that out, you can. If not, you can count by 60s or by and do it that way, okay? So 60 times 5 is 300. I have a 1 on the bottom, so a number divided by 1 is always itself. So that leaves me with 300 seconds, but I am not done. Remember, I have 25 seconds that I need to add to that. So I'm going to take 300 plus 25, So that gives me 325 seconds, which is greater than 315 seconds. So we can say that 5 minutes and 25 seconds is greater than 315 seconds. All right. Let's do another example. So I need to figure out how many minutes are in a quarter of an hour. Okay, so we know that in an hour, 1 hour is equal to 60 minutes. All right, so a quarter, we can represent that as 0.25. We can represent that as 1/4. Those are quarters, right? So I have to figure out a quarter of 60. Easiest way to do this, guys, is to take 60 divided by 4. Okay? So if I do that, 4 goes into 6 one time. I'm left with 4. 6 minus 4 is 2. Bring down my 0. 4 goes into 25 times. So a quarter of an hour is 15 minutes. Okay? That's something that will just be important to know. So if a quarter equals 15 minutes, a half of 60 is 30. 3/4 would be 45 minutes. And we know a whole is 60 minutes. Okay? That will be something, if we can memorize that, that'd be perfect. But that is an easy way to figure out. We just take it divided by that bottom number. Okay? All right, let's move on. So now we're going to convert 240 seconds into minutes. So I need to figure out how many minutes 240 seconds equals. All right, so if I use this little equation structure, I'm going to start with 240 seconds times, draw my bar. Remember, seconds will always go on the bottom. Minutes are going to go on top. I'm going to go 1 minute. And there are 60 seconds in 1 minute. I can now cross out my seconds, and I'm going to multiply straight across. So 240 times 1 is 240, and I have 60 on the bottom. So I'm going to do a nice division problem here. 60 cannot go into 2. 60 cannot go into 24. So again, I'm going to be counting by 60s. So we have 60. We have 120. We have 180. And we have 240. Perfect. This is going to be an even number. So 60 can go into 240 4 times. So 240 seconds is equal to 4 minutes. All right. Let's do another example. I have 2 hours. This is problem 4. 2 hours and 18 minutes. And I want to figure out how many minutes. Okay. Again, there are different ways of solving this problem. Let's try it an easier way, okay? I know 60 minutes are in 1 hour, and I have 2 hours. So I can either do 60 times 2, or I can do 60 plus 60. Either way, that's going to give me 120. I'm going to bring down that 18. So 120 plus 18 gives me 138 minutes. So 2 hours and 18 minutes equal 138 minutes. All right, so that's another way that we can solve these problems. All right, let's move on to question 5. I have 4.5 minutes, and I need to figure out how many seconds. All right, I'm going to go back to that equation structure I showed you earlier for this one. So I'm going to take 4 minutes. I'm taking that. I'm going to leave that half off. I want to just deal with my whole numbers right now, okay? Times, I'm going to draw my bar. I'm going to add 1 minute down here. And then however many seconds are in a minute, which is 60, is up there. So now I can cross out my minutes. And again, we're going to multiply straight across. So 60 times 4, which we just did this. We know that is 240 divided by 1. So 240. And now we still have this half to deal with. So we're going to take half of a minute. So 1 minute equals 60 seconds. So I'm going to take half of 60, so divide by 2, and that's going to give me 30 seconds. So now I'm going to take 240 plus 30, which is going to give me 270 seconds. So 4.5 minutes is equal to 240 seconds. All right. Let's do one more problem together. This one's going to be pretty simple. We're going to end with an easy one. 80 minutes. I want to figure out how many hours that equals. Okay. Super easy, guys. We know that there are 60 minutes in an hour. We know that there can only be 1 hour in 80 minutes. So I'm going to have 1 hour. But I have to include my remainder. So we can take 80 minus 60, which is going to give me 20. So 80 minutes is the same as 1 hour and 20 minutes. Okay? Pretty simple, but please, if you have any questions, feel free to email me. I want you guys to do well on this. So please let me know if there's anything I can help you with.